Hey guys, it's been a while since I did my last book haul, probably 3 months at least, and I've collected quite a few great titles from some amazing authors. Let's get right into it and start with Kurt Vonnegut, The Sirens of Titan. I think this may be his most science fiction of all his novels. I read Slaughterhouse-5, of course, I read Cat's Cradle. I'm looking forward to reading The Sirens of Titan. Kurt Vonnegut is such a unique voice. Let me know your thoughts on him. Let me know if you've read The Sirens of Titan. Let's see, what do we have? Speaking of amazing voices, perhaps my favorite science fiction author, Stanisław Lem. I read most of the books that he wrote, a lot of them years ago, most of them in Polish. This is the master's voice, an English version of the Polish original. The title would be Głos Pana. Here we have a first contact story. The premise is whether humanity can decipher what the aliens are telling us. Is it even possible for us to understand the aliens? Lem, of course, is the master of philosophical science fiction, and I'm looking forward to reading this one. Like I said, I read most of Lem's works in the original Polish, but last year I read The Invincible in English, and I really liked the translation, so I'm hoping this translation by Michael Kundel will also work well. Let me know if you've read any Lem. Of course, Solaris is his most famous novel, but he's got so many good ones. Great stuff. Here's an author that I have never even heard about, Claire North. I don't know anything about the author, but I have heard other people talk about it, including Jonathan from Words in Time, one of my favorite booktubers. I know it's on his list to read soon, so I'm hoping to hear from him whether he likes it. Intriguing premise here, some twists, and the title of the book, of course, is The First 15 Lives of Harry August. So I'm getting Ken Greenwood replay vibes. I'm looking forward to reading this one at some point later on this year. Let me know if you've read this or anything else by North. What else do we have? We have a lot. I don't know where to go. Well, let's maybe look at Arthur C. Clarke, The Fall of Moondust. I read a lot of Clarke's books years ago. I really liked Rendezvous with Rama, of course, 2001, Space Odyssey. I read a lot of his works years ago, and I'm looking forward to getting back to reading Clarke. In this book, I think we have an interesting premise, and we have a little bit of more human psychology. I think Arthur C. Clarke is synonymous with hard science, where the human mind is not necessarily at the forefront. And I think this one may be a little bit different. So I'm curious to know if you've read The Fall of Moondust and what are your thoughts on that book. Here's one that's all about the human mind, an author that's all about the human mind, Philip K. Dick, Psychedelic Tour de Force. The Man in the High Castle is one that I have not read. I've read a few of Philip K. Dick's works. I'm looking forward to getting back into his style. I find it amazing when I read it, but I do need to take breaks. His books, they have this quality in them that I really look forward to. So when it's been maybe 4, 5, 6 months since I read a Philip K. Dick novel, I crave for one. I crave Dick. So Men in the High Castle, an alternate history where the Axis powers win the war and the United States gets divided into two parts. The eastern part is under the German occupation, and the West, California, is under the Japanese supervision, with Colorado, where I am right now, Colorado sunshine, oh my God, it's kind of like the buffer zone in between the two. I've heard mixed things about this book. I love Ubik, I love The Android's Dream of Electric Sheep. I love a lot of the other books that I've read by Philip K. Dick. I'm hoping to have a similar feeling when I pick up The Men in High Castle. Now, Cormac McCarthy, perhaps one of the best American authors of 20th and 21st century. He died just last year. All the Pretty Horses is one that I just picked up. I picked it up because I finished recently The Road, and it really blew my mind. It was incredible. It was powerful. It was touching. It was very sombering, and like no other post-apocalyptic book, it made me think about the reality of that scenario. I had tears at the end of that book in my eyes. And All the Pretty Horses is, I believe, the first book that really put Cormac McCarthy on the map. And I'm looking forward to reading this. I have Blood Meridian. It's getting pushed back on my TBR. It's such a difficult read from what I'm hearing. I don't think I'm ready for it. The Road was certainly difficult enough to get through at times just because of the content, not because of the prose. The prose is very simple, very sparse, very quick. It gets to the point. I really like Cormac McCarthy. I'm looking forward to reading All the Pretty Horses soon. Let me know which McCarthy is your favorite book. leave a comment down below. Becky Chambers, To Be Thought If Fortunate. I've heard from few people that this is a good one, and it's such a short read, and I really like Becky Chambers. I really like her Monk and Robot series. I'm looking forward to the next installment in that series when it comes out. I really liked the Wayfarer series also, with book 1, which I read not too long ago, A Long Way to a Small Angry Planet. A lot of fun. And I'm looking forward to reading Becky Chambers again. She's a great author to read when you're looking for something that is going to make you feel good, perhaps make you think also, but definitely feel good undertones to her works. Christopher Priest is an author on the list of shame. There are a few of them here that I have read nothing from. Inverted World. This is a classic of SF, a crazy setup with a world that has to be, with a city that has to be moved every day in order for it to survive. So tracks are laid every day and the world moves along. There's a huge twist in this book that is supposed to be mind-boggling. Christopher Priest, an author whose writing I've heard a lot of good things about, and I'm looking forward to reading my first Priest. Let me know if you've read anything by him, Inverted World or otherwise. Let me know your thoughts on that. Now, here are 2 books by Dan Simmons. Dan Simmons, oh my god, Hyperion, right? If you've watched any of my previous videos, you know Hyperion is one of my all-time favorite science fiction books. And Dan Simmons seems like the type of writer who can write amazing stories in different genres. He kind of cuts across. And The Terror, for example, that I have here is kind of a historical fiction with, I guess, a supernatural element to it, a horror also. And I'm really looking forward to reading this one. It's a good one from what I've heard. Let me know if you've read The Terror or Abominable. This is a story about climbing Mount Everest, and it's one that I'm really looking forward to read because climbing is my passion. I really love to read about climbers struggling in the elements, high altitude. I've had the pleasure of going up Mount Kilimanjaro years ago, actually in year 2000. Which was the perfect time to do it, only because there was nobody there. It was in the middle of COVID. It was a fantastic experience. Mount Rainier is another one that I had some adventures on. So I'm really looking forward to reading this one from Dan Simmons. Let me know your thoughts if you've read either one. Fabulous author now, a new author. I think Simon Jimenez is only in his 30s, so a young author, The Vanished Birds. I think this is his first novel, and Cuts Through Water is his second novel, or maybe it's the other way around. It doesn't matter, but I've heard some good things about him. This is his science fiction book. Spear Cuts Through Water is a fantasy book. Both of them have some interesting elements. I think there's a frame narrative. So anyway, let me know about Simon Jimenez. Have you read The Vanished Birds? Is it a good one? Should I pick it up? Here's one by Margaret Atwood, Oryx and Crane. Of course, Margaret Atwood of the Handmaid's Tale fame. I have not read anything by her. I'm looking forward to this one. It seems like a book that I will enjoy. We'll see. We shall see. We shall see. What else should I talk about? There's so much here. Oh my God. Alistair Reynolds. Look at this. Inhibitor Phase. This, I think, is the last one in the Revelation Space novel series. I haven't read any of them. I have the first 2. My daughter got them for me for Christmas this year. I'm gonna be reading them at some point this year. I got this one because it's a hardcover for $6. I could not pass up the opportunity. Same thing with Stephen King, The Dark Tower. I could not pass up the opportunity to pick this one up for a few bucks, hardcover. Now, when it comes to Stephen King, one of my favorite authors, of course, but The Gunslinger, when I started reading it, I kind of had a hard time. I couldn't get through it. I started reading it years ago. I read maybe one chapter or whatever, some pages, and I put it down. So I'm definitely gonna get back into reading The Dark Tower at some point later on this year. What do we have here? Here's a book that I know nothing about, but again, super cheap, $5, brand new, The Wind-Up Girl by Paolo Basigulpi. I hope I'm pronouncing that more or less right. Let me know if you've read it, if I should pick it up. Yeah, here's one by Thomas Botea, Tempus. This is self-published novella, a short book. I started reading it. Thomas is a young author. I think he's in high school still, and this is a fun read. crazy adventure, packed with ideas, packed with adventure for sure. It does suffer, of course, from the fact that it's self-published, so there's no editing, there's no editor, there's some mistakes. It's not written quite to the Dan Simmons, Jimenez, Stephen King level, but I would encourage Thomas, if you're watching this, to keep writing. This has a lot of promise, I think, and I enjoyed the parts that I read from this book, and I think I'm gonna finish it at some point. Here's one by Michael Connelly. So this is, now we're not talking science fiction at all. This is a police procedural. I suppose Jack McEvoy is, I had to look on the back, is the protagonist in this one. This is book 2 in the series. Book 1 is The Poet. I read it years ago and I remembered really liking it, so I suggested my wife that she would read it and she loved it, so I picked up The Scarecrow for her to read, and I'm thinking I'm probably gonna be reading it also. I just want to get back to that style. Carl Sagan, Contact. We talked about Stanisław Lem's Głos Pana, his master's voice, as a first contact novel. This is the definitive first contact novel, isn't it? The book, I'm hoping, is going to be as good as the movie, because I love the Jodie Foster, Matthew McConaughey movie. Just a great story. And I mean, honestly, Carl Sagan is one of my favorite, or was one of my favorite humans. His philosophy on religion versus science really appealed to me. Anyway, Olaf Stapleton is another author of classic science fiction that I have read nothing by. This is Last and First Men. Let me know if you've read anything by Stapleton. Let me know if I should prioritize this. I really don't know much about the author, so I'm not gonna linger on this one too much. Similarly, Metaphor by Andrzej Kwiecień. This is a Polish author, a young author. I got this book from my mother-in-law. She brought it over from Poland. I'm looking forward to reading this. Darwinia by Robert Charles Wilson. This was written in the late 90s. So not quite classic, but it has that feel, and Robert Charles Wilson is an author, again, that I've read nothing by. So he is on that list of shame, and I'm definitely looking forward to changing that at some point this year. Let me know if you've read Darwinia and your thoughts on it and on Robert Charles Wilson in general. Continuing with that theme, Andra Norden. I have not read anything by her. Knave of Dreams is the book that I just picked up. Couple of dollars for this first paperback publication, first edition. Could not pass up the opportunity to pick up Andra Norton. Here are a couple of books that I just finished reading that I want to tell you about. And that's Guards, right? Guards, the Discworld. This was so much fun. I didn't know what to expect going into it. I was a little bit apprehensive because Terry Pratchett with the Discworld kind of gets compared to Hitchhiker's Guide to Galaxy and Douglas Adams, and I really didn't love those. I didn't really love The Hitchhiker, but I loved Guards. Perhaps when I'm reading science fiction, I'm expecting something a little bit more serious from that genre. This was pure fantasy, and it was pure fun. I really liked the humor. I was laughing out loud several times in this book. If you have not gave a try to the Discworld, I think this is a great place to start with Guards. And because I loved it so much, I went to a bookstore and I picked up 2 other books in the series. They're not the direct sequels. These can be read in different order, but I have Equal Rights and Weird Sisters. I don't know if it's exactly weird or word, the pronunciation, but these are also well received by readers. I'm really looking forward to them. They're just great palate cleanser. If you've read something heavy like The Road, which I read just prior to reading Guards, this is a great book just to kind of clear your mind, get back to reading just for the pure escapism, for the enjoyment, for the fun. Here's one that I'm reading currently as well, Children of the Sky by Vernon Vinge. This is book 3 and most likely the last one. I don't think Vernon's gonna write anything else. He's getting up there in age, but this is book 3. Book 1, of course, is one of my favorite science fiction books of all time. I'm talking about Fire Upon the Deep, and this is the continuation of that story on the Tynes world. I just started the book recently. We may do a video with Ira from SF Books of Wonder. We'll see about that. I'm not sure if this book really warrants a standalone video. We'll see. So far, it's good, not great. The last book I'm gonna mention here is a book that was sent to me. A digital copy was sent to me by the author Aaron Ramsby. It's The Ruins of Ivy. I started reading that one as well. Really well written. It's a story of post-apocalyptic survival, friendship, lots of action. It looks like a good one. Check out Aaron Ramsby's book, as well as Thomas Botea. We gotta support these self-published authors. So thank you, Thomas, for the book. Thank you, Aaron, as well. And guys, if you've read any of these books, let me know your thoughts on them. Leave a comment down below, and I'll talk to you next time.